Advertising is probably one of the most important parts of building a good brand image. Most companies will just go with the flow and create a conventional billboard and social media promotion, but sometimes this just isn't enough. Forcing companies to go against the grain, resorting to other means to sell funny cheeseburger. Some of these methods of advertising are so fanatical that they feel more like publicity stunts. The most important effect of an advertisement is to try and connect to new consumers and in turn broaden your audience. And what is a better audience to connect to than the gamer master race? Companies all throughout the rise of gaming in the 2000s would try to diversify their audience by adding the Dorito munching, Mountain Dew guzzling, wife-beating gamers to the mix. With brands creating video games to promote food and thrust business to the next level, there is bound to be some failed attempts that just didn't catch on, which is coincidentally what this video is about. In this video, I have gathered some of my favorite examples of this from which I will show you right now, so buckle up, grab your non-alcoholic water, and let's get right into this video. Pepsi Man is a game developed by Kid for the PlayStation in 1999. It is based on the popular Pepsi beverage brand and features the character of Pepsi Man as the main protagonist. Pepsi Man is a character that has appeared in various television commercials and promotional material for the Pepsi brand. In these advertisements, Pepsi Man is often depicted as an athletic, heroic figure who goes to great lengths to deliver cans of Pepsi to thirsty people. For example, Pepsi Man is shown running through a city and jumping over obstacles to bring a can of Pepsi to a group of people in a restaurant, which is out of Pepsi. In another commercial, he's shown using a snowboard to glide over and deliver a can of Pepsi to a group of snowboarders, often at the end comedically hurting himself. The character has become popular in Japan and other Asian countries and has even inspired a line of collectible figurines. In the game, the player controls Pepsi Man as he travels through various levels, collecting cans of Pepsi and avoiding obstacles. One interesting fact about the game is that it was only released in Japan exclusively, making it somewhat of a rarity among collectors. Another interesting fact is that the game features real-life advertisements for Pepsi, including commercials that play during the loading screens.
Have a Pepsi. Next stage.
Despite its limited release, Pepsi Man has gained a cult following over the years and has even been re-released on modern platforms. Pepsi Man has a number of memorable levels, including one where he must outrun a giant comically sized Pepsi can Indiana Jones style. The game's music, composed by James Shimoji, has also gained a dedicated following, with many fans praising its catchy, upbeat tunes. Despite its campy, over-the-top premise, Pepsi Man has managed to carve out a place in gaming history as a quirky, memorable title that remains beloved by its fans. The same can't be said about Mojo Master. When doing research for this video, it's literally impossible to find anything on this game, especially gameplay. I'm starting to believe this game actually doesn't exist. But from what I could find, Mojo Master was a game made in 2005 by Wild Tangent and sponsored by Axe. The gameplay took a similar style to the advertisements for Axe, in which a ladies' man just needed a little bit of help from copious amounts of Axe grooming products to become the player in mind. A month after this game's release, there was an update that included a playa versus playa mode in which a competitive multiplayer mode. In addition to this, it was quietly discontinued a few months later. The gameplay was similar to what we now know as Super Seducer. Structured as a card game where you would play against NPC females, the player's health was the mojo, and when the player managed to beat the opponent, they would have to succumb to their phone number, but if the player lost, they would receive a slap on the face from the opponent. The game was too early for its time and sadly missed the Sigma era, so seeing this game succeed is probably way out of the picture. Hey, look at this cool screen that says Sneak King. Sneak King is a video game developed by Blitz Games and published by Burger King for the Xbox 360 in 2006. The game is a promotional tie-in with the fast food restaurant chain, and it was distributed as part of a combo meal at participating Burger King locations during a limited time. In the game of Sneak King, players control the King, the iconic mascot of Burger King, as he moves through various environments, such as city streets and parks, to deliver burgers to hungry customers. The game is played from a third-person perspective, and the player must use stealth and timing to avoid being noticed by characters in the game. The King must sneak around obstacles and hide behind objects in order to deliver the burgers undetected. The reception for Sneak King by Burger King was generally negative. Critics panned the game for its poor controls, lack of depth, and unappealing visuals. Many reviewers found the gameplay to be repetitive and uninteresting, and they criticized the game's short length and lack of replay value. Some also expressed disappointment with the game's use of stealth mechanics, which they found to be poorly implemented and not well suited to the game's fast food delivery setting. However, some praised the game's sense of humor and clever marketing strategy, calling it a successful and innovative way for Burger King to reach a new audience. Also, some of the fans and players in retrospect find the game nostalgic, charming, and fun to play, creating a small cult following. It is an interesting case of a company using the medium of video games to promote their brand. The America's Army game was developed by the US Army as a recruitment and training tool. The game was initially released in 2002 as a free, first-person shooter video game that allowed players to experience what it is like to be a soldier in the US Army. America's Army was developed and released as a free game by the United States Army. This is unusual because most video games are developed and released by private companies for commercial profit. America's Army game was not developed to make money, but was used as a recruitment tool to promote the Army and to familiarize the public with its roles and operations. The game was rated mature by the ESRB, which means that it was not intended for children and young teenagers, which again is unusual for a recruitment tool that is supposed to appeal to those groups. There have been several incidents and controversies surrounding the America's Army game over the years. More notably, the game was criticized by some for promoting militarism and for being used as a recruitment tool for the Army during a time of war in Iraq and Afghanistan. Branded video games, or more colloquially known, advert games, are kind of like a staple in time. Seeing a company make a game to advertise something is as rare as it gets, but in the early 2000s, this was just regular. Thank you for watching this video. If this video hits 50 likes, I will do a part 2 with even more games to showcase, but other than that, have a nice day, see ya.